every member of that squad will probably say the same thing, and that life probably changed as soon as we left Wembley. Even in school with the lads, I was a girl, I was first picked every time. Like, I don't know, I just had the respect off the lads. If you're playing, you get treated the same. I got text off Casey saying, I'd love to have a conversation with you. 1, I'm not going to a league below. And 2, I'm not playing for Man United. I met Casey at Old Trafford. I walked out and I was like, I'm signing for Man United. Off the back of last summer, then preparing for the summer ahead, I would definitely be lying to us if I didn't say, I'm looking forward to the summer and what could be. I want little girls to grow up in my city and go, I want to be Alex. Who's the female role model for these girls? And I want to be that. We could feel momentum was building, and I think even if we didn't win the final, I think we'd have changed the game. I'm so glad we did go and win it, because what's come of that has been amazing.
Yes, it's that time again. Welcome to another episode of the Scouse Code with Bianca Cook and Paul Garrity. In this one, we've travelled to Manchester to meet a footballer making great strides on and off the pitch. Alex Greenwood may play for Manchester City, but this girl will always be a Scouser. She's an England Lioness and part of the squad to win the 2022 Euros. And Alex talks to us about playing for Everton and Liverpool. And we also discuss the 2023 World Cup finals in Australia and New Zealand. So let's hear how this girl from Bootle became an England superstar. Alex, welcome to the show. Have you been looking forward to this one as much as we have?
I have, yeah. Catching up with two Scousers is always a pleasure.
Two Scousers, yeah.
We're being a bit modest there. We actually were dying for this to get on, weren't we? We were like, fangirling there. Come on, please get on the show. Act cool, please.
Yeah, exactly. Act cool, yeah. So yeah, welcome onto the show. It's a privilege to have you on, especially given the schedule that you have as well. It's quite packed, especially with the way women's football's gone. It is a bit mental, isn't it, women's football these days?
It is, yeah, it's mental. But no, I love doing stuff like this, and I love being around Scousers. It feels like I'm back at home. So no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Wonderful, thank you. Just to give everybody, those who don't know, those in women's football will know exactly who you are because of all your achievements. But I just wanted to outline some of the achievements that you've had so far. You've from a Scouse perspective, you played for both Everton and Liverpool. So that's one of the things that you have.
She's hiding
your CV. Yeah, exactly. One of the things you have in your.
Can I go any lower?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've got 74 caps for England as it stands at the moment, unless you tell me different. That's what the FA say anyway. You've had the Euros win with England. You've got a World Cup bronze with England in 2015. UEFA Champions League win with Lyon. You've got a Ligue 1 title with Lyon. 1 French Cup, that was 3 in one season, treble. That wasn't bad, when you think about the season. And you've got an FA Cup and a League Cup as well.
Right.
Impressive.
And as we always say on this podcast, your most impressive achievement of all is that you are
a Scouser.
Just waiting for that part.
But when you hear about the list of achievements that you've had in your career, does it give you goosebumps? Does it make you embarrassed? Does it make you proud? Or how do you feel with that?
Goosebumps, no, because I don't think I've had even a moment to sit and register the list that you've just said. I think maybe when I finish and retire, you know how that is. You probably sit there and maybe I'll have a day where I'll be like,
I've done well,
I've done all right. But right now, because I'm just constantly searching and chasing for what's next, I don't really ever look back and go, oh, well, I've done that. Don't get me wrong, of course, I tick off the trophies. I'm like, I still haven't got that one. I still haven't got that medal. But as an athlete and as a player, you're just always wanting what's next. Right, done that one, what's next? And that's just kind of how I work.
You're like tunnel visioned, aren't you, to get to the next one? Because if you concentrate on the history, then you'll never go forward, and you'll just be like not concentrating on the next tournament or the next big win.
Exactly.
So
we just had that conversation
living in the
before,
moment, aren't you?
Exactly. And if you I just feel like I'm just constantly thinking, okay, that job's done, and what's next? Obviously, for me, it's to finish the season well at City, and then the summer.
Plus, it goes so quick. You think that one's done, and then you've got to get ready for the next one on the next season, next competition. It never actually stops. Like we go on holiday or things like this, but it's constantly
it's up
all
here,
year. Yeah.
Never switch off.
Never switch off.
One of the things that about this particular podcast, which is quite interesting as well, is the location. It's kind of halfway between GB Taekwondo and your place at Manchester City as well. Yeah. It's really local because we're in Manchester for this one.
Yeah.
For you guys, I mean, for me, coming across from Liverpool at the moment, it's a home game for you two, isn't it? Really, when you think about it.
Yeah. No, we are. It's the Liverpool in us, but we actually do train here, don't we? We train in Manchester. It's like our second home. Like you said, I'm around 5 miles that way. You're training like 2 miles that way. And we've been lucky enough to come in here now. And
So this place is the Nuffield Health Manchester Institute for Health and Performance.
That was a line there. That was a line.
Done well with that.
But you've both had experiences here as well, haven't you? Because there's a performance side to this place, and then there's like a public side to it as well, where the public can come in and almost pay as you play for whatever it may be. I mean, let's talk about the performance side first with you guys. Bianca, because you recommended this place, didn't you?
So obviously, like you said, this is performance place for us as well. Like we come here for actual physio, we come here for treatment, scans as well, and we come here for. I came here like last November for the altitude chamber because we were competing in Mexico. It was like you have to train in the conditions that it was, and I tell you, there was basically a room with no air. We had to train inside there, so we were lucky enough to come here, train, and they provided that training for us. So, and like you said, you've probably been here for multiple scans.
Yeah, multiple scans, yeah.
I've been here for multiple scans. I think I'm like top.
I've got a pass here. Yeah. But yeah, we used a little bit here pre-season, so our building was getting some work done to it.
Okay.
So we came over and used the gym upstairs, and the gym upstairs, Megan, and it's really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm lucky. It's literally 2-minute drive from us, so. It is.
We're not in traffic going anywhere. No.
I could walk in if I wanted to, but too lazy.
But one of the things I didn't realise, I thought it was just a performance building. It's actually, did you know you could actually pay to actually come here as a
Oh,
as
yeah,
a person
yeah,
as well?
At the front,
yeah.
It's like a semi-little hospital.
I didn't know
exactly.
that,
Yeah.
I didn't know
that.
that.
Well, there you go. You like me.
We don't pay for it because of all the
exactly.
and stuff.
But, you can have, it says over there, cryotherapy, hydrotherapy, you can have all sorts of different things here, heart scans, and we've got the cameras all around this building here so that when you're doing, if you've got dodgy joints or whatever it is, probably like me, to be honest with you, you can actually... Yeah, exactly. I might actually book myself in for my dodgy knee, but it's one of those things that I didn't realise that actually this place actually did. So
top level, high
so
performance.
what I'm going to do for anybody who's interested in coming here is actually put the link in the description so you can have a nose and actually see what you think, because they do all sorts of different things here. And to be honest with you, as you say, I might book myself in as well. So I'll put the link in the description down below, down there, and you can have a look and see what you think.
Yeah, definitely.
The first thing I want to talk about in this podcast is the big news of 2022, I suppose, which was
the big game.
Yeah, the big Euros win for England, because I've been following women's football as a reporter since 2005. But back then, we could only dream of having some sort of success for the England team. Yeah. You were actually a part of that, winning the Euros at Wembley. Do you still have to pinch yourself that moment actually happened?
Yeah, it is definitely a pinch myself moment. I think it took me a while to actually watch the game back. I'm actually a player who, as soon as we play a game, I watch the game back straight away. I like to digest the game and put it to bed so I can move on quite quickly. I didn't want to watch that game back because I wanted to stay in the moment for as long as I could.
No,
I didn't want to. I wanted to just live in the moment and enjoy it and take for the memories that I could remember rather than watching the memories. It's actually so hard to put into words that day. It was. I don't know if it'll ever be topped. Like a home Euros at Wembley. I had every family member I could think of there. We won. We beat Germany.
Yeah.
It was honestly incredible. It
wasn't just massive for you. I think it was massive for the country, the world. Sure. Like, it changed women's football instantly that day. Like, I remember watching it at home. All the family were watching it, and like, we didn't watch women's football like that. Do you know what I mean? And it was on the TV, and everyone was going crazy supporting and like made up that you won. And then when you did it, it was just like, whoa, this is it. This has changed.
Yeah, for sure.
You knew instantly there and then women's football's changed from that second.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I think during a tournament, you know yourself, you get into a bubble, don't you? And you kind of like, it's hard in England because as much as you're trying to switch yourself off, you're still in your home country, so you still see people in hotels, and we were kind of like hidden away in our hotel. We had the part of the hotel we were staying in that was just for us. So in a weird way, we were at home and in it, but we were kept away from it. So we were like in a bubble, and
to focus.
To focus, but we could feel momentum was building, and we knew something. I think, I'll be honest with you, I think even if we didn't win the final, I think we'd have changed the game.
Yeah.
I think the momentum that we took on the tournament along the way, and the crowd itself, and the general feeling that we had as the tournament was going on, and the messages we were all receiving was just, it was a game changer. We could just feel it. And then, I mean, obviously, I'm so glad we did go and win it, because what's come of that has been amazing. But I still do think what we did before we won it had changed the game anyway.
Yeah, like credit to, like you said, like winning was a bonus. It was just, we were all there to support it. But before that, everyone watching it, how many fans there was in the crowd. It was a full stadium.
Every stadium.
It was live. It was what everyone was watching it. Peak time. It was like, it had already from then already changed. But the fact that you won it made it even more special. Absolutely. And I think like the success from it even more like carried the change that you already did. And plus you won. Do you know what I mean?
Plus you got a medal.
And all the celebrations, I think, with the best bit of it at the end. Cheering.
But I remember Euro 2005. I remember that being fairly big at the time. I don't know whether would you remember of 2005? Do you remember anything of that time?
I can't say I do, no.
No.
Like
so
a baby.
yeah. So for me, Euro 2005 seemed big at the time, but it still had a small tournament vibe to it.
Yeah.
I think this was totally different. This was like, if you want to liken it to the men's kind of, if England, if the FA were to host a World Cup, for example, in England, for the men, that's what this felt like. There was a total sea change in the vibe around the tournament, the way you guys were treated, you know, the heightened security, the massive attendances. Yeah. It seemed to be a massive shift. Would you agree with that massive? That the feeling was different this time around.
I think because I'm on the inside, I think it almost felt different anyway. So like I couldn't really see it from that perspective as looking from the outside. The only thing I can compare it to is the year before I went to the men's final. When they played Italy at Wembley. And I remember sitting there, and I remember actually saying to Jack was with me at the final, and I said, it was kind of when the girls had gone to the Olympics. And I went, this could be us when we do it at the Euros. Like, we could be at a final here at Wembley. Like, how unbelievable, look at the crowd. Like, and I said to him, we'd sell this out 100%. Yeah, totally. Obviously, it was like a passing comment, like, imagine we could do this at home. Like,
you were attracting it.
Yeah, I know, like it's crazy, but I remember saying it to him after. Remember I said at the men's final, imagine if we go and do the same thing. I think, of course, the atmosphere is different, and we bring in a different type of atmosphere in the men's game, and that's just where the games are. Some people prefer it, some people don't, and it's probably more of a family feel game when you come to watch the girls play, and that's something we enjoy, and something that we like.
That's what you like, though, prefer
for sure.
And stuff,
the interaction we can have with the fans is different. But when you say compare it, that's probably my way of comparing. Sure. When I was at the finals, and then I think back now, and I was like, well, I think I outdone it, obviously, because we won.
Yeah, you did. It came home. That's what happened.
Came home, yeah. But that's probably my way of trying to compare it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's totally. And as I say, the way because I haven't been involved in the game for the past 18 years, or at least been watching it in some sort of capacity in the last 18 years. It's been a gradual, for me anyway, improvement year on year. And the WSL, you know, when that came about, that would seem to be a big movement in changing the tide and the fortunes of women's football. But in terms of the wider public, you guys became almost household names overnight, definitely. Because of that. Has that changed in your life as well, what you do outside of the if you like, the football bubble? Yeah,
completely agree. I think every member of that squad will probably say the same thing, and that life probably changed as soon as we left Wembley. And that come from so many different ways, the things we were asked to do, invitations, places, things people wanted to give us. And for sure, like when I look back, we were still in a very privileged position, and we still got a lot of nice gestures, and we still got to do nice things, but this was just totally different. Going back home, going back to Liverpool, being in Manchester, everywhere. You know, I go to Sainsbury's by mine, and people would stop you as I'm walking down doing the shopping, and I mean, brilliant. It's amazing.
It was right that that happened, because you deserve that recognition. You deserve that, like a bit of celebrity fame through it, because look, everything that you've done with it, that's what the men get. That's what you deserve. Do you know what I mean? And you filled out the stadium. You've won the competitions. You've built, and little girls are like looking after you. So why not? Why can't people recognise you in the street? Do you know what I mean? And
absolutely.
You deserve it. And it's only just going to get more and more because the game is getting bigger and bigger. So before you know it, you won't be able to go to Sainsbury's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You'll have to have people going. You'll have to go.
Get it delivered.
You'll have people going to Sainsbury's for you. You know what I mean?
No, that'll never be me.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll get my own shopping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, make sure the bananas are the right one. But you look ahead to say the World Cup. You know, later this year, for example. It just seems as though women's football in this country. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't necessarily like calling it women's football. I like calling it football. Yeah. I always have done ever since I first came into the game 18 years ago. But when you see football for females in this country, there's going to be a lot of excitement about this World Cup as well coming up, even though it's going to be in a totally different time zone in down under. Do you have a sense of excitement potentially? I mean, I remember when I used to speak to players years ago, it was like, if selected, you know, it was one of those things, if selected. But have you got that sense of excitement for a big event like that?
Yeah, I would be lying if I said I didn't. I think off the back of last summer, then preparing for the summer ahead, of course, that still relates to me. If selected, and you've got to make sure you're performing and playing well. I think in terms of where I'm at in my career, I think I'm still very much focused on the World Cup. And even though we don't know the squad, I prepare myself as if I'm going, and I do everything I can to make sure I'm going. But I can still get excited. I can still feel for it. I can still prepare myself to go. I think we were literally just having this conversation before we came on here, but it's hard because I'm a very much week-to-week basis person. Of course, I look beyond and I prepare far ahead, but I literally work week to week. What's Sunday look like? Who are we playing on Sunday? But I would definitely be lying to us if I didn't say, I'm looking forward to the summer and what could be. And
we're probably more excited, but like you've got to go through them stages. You've got short-term goals before that you even get there.
Absolutely.
Like you said, we were talking before, and she was like, yeah, but like I've got goals in between because you've got stuff to do this season still with City. Yeah. You've still got stuff going on, and you want to win it all. You want to like perform best, and then when it gets there, you're like already ready. You've done what you can and you need to do, like training, playing, getting some pitch time, whatever. And then when you get there, you can feel it. Then
it builds momentum, doesn't it?
Because if you overdo it, then if you overthink, like example for me, it would be like the Olympics. If you're overthinking, it's got to be for this, it's got to be for that, and then it's sort of like you'll be concentrating too much on other things instead of what can I actually do to be the best at the Olympics or at the World Cup. So it is stages, but we're all like, ooh, we can't wait.
But I think we look ahead to the World Cup with great excitement, and we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later on. But you also backed up, if you like, your Euros win by beating Brazil in Finalissima as well. Was that almost like a continuation of those celebrations, almost visiting that amazing time that you had last summer? Yeah,
in a way it was, going back home, Wembley, and getting another trophy at home. I think
you're used to it now. Let's keep this going, get these trophies.
We play every game at Wembley. No, but it was a brilliant occasion. We sold it out. The fans were brilliant. Again, another top nation to beat and play against. And honestly, like the game was a game of two halves. I don't know if you've seen it, but first off, we were brilliant and we dominated. We probably went in at half time thinking we should be 2 or 3 up here.
I would have said 2-3.
It kind of should be game over a little bit. But I'm actually, in a weird way, glad
it didn't.
What happened. I'm glad that we went through the pressure and they scored last minute. How were we going to react to that? Because we opening up yourself to them scenarios is just preparation for the World Cup anyway.
Exactly.
And going to a penalty shootout against 83,000 people. Are you going to hold your nerve or you're not? How do you prepare? If you make a mistake there, is it the end of the world? Not really.
And you can't ever actually reenact them moments unless you're in them moments.
Exactly.
Like we could do it now in training, but it's not the same.
No, it's not. And you can prepare and you can go the way you want to go and you can practice your routine, but doing it right there and in the moment was
What's that feel like though, taking a penalty in that sort of scenario? What's it feel like?
I felt pretty calm, to be honest. I think do
you practice it a lot though, like and stuff?
Yeah, I do practice it a lot. I think, on being honest and speaking about it, I took a really nasty whack to the head in the game.
Okay. I remember that.
I was like, when the final whistle went, I was almost a bit like, okay, am I ready to take a penalty or am I not? And then I was like, no, I am. I'm prepared. I'm ready to go. They asked me, did I want to go fourth? Okay, I'm going to go fourth. I knew my job. Obviously, remember the girls going up to take their pens, and I just knew in my head, I'm going number 4. do my job, and then hopefully everyone else takes care of business, and I can get back in the tunnel and look after myself. But I mean, scored the goal. I watched the keeper, what she was doing as the other girls were taking the penalty. She went quite early on some of them. I noticed that on a left-footed strike, keepers tend to go the same way as a left-footer goes. And I could notice what she was doing. She crouched down quite a lot, so her momentum was already in one direction, so I kind of waited for her to do that. It's just kind of playing cat and mouse.
It's funny that you say that details. We watch it and like, come on, just get the ball in the net.
I was just sitting there thinking, just score.
Like
she's like crouching down. I'm like, I'm gonna just get that ball in that net. Like that's it.
Yeah, because it was a match a little while ago. The penalty which Jordan Pickford saved in a match against Leicester, and his water bottle had the percentages of which way they were going to go.
Clever, that.
So as a fan, you're just thinking, save it, or score it in your case. But you're looking at the goalkeeper and thinking, okay, then how, and trying to work these things out for yourself. That's quite.
Or has she got a bottle with her?
She got a bottle, yeah, with
percentages.
Exactly, with the percentages.
She wouldn't have any. I haven't took any for England.
Imagine if you actually go in the goal and look
percentage
around. The referee's going, what are you looking for? I'm just trying to find that bottle with the percentages on, so I can kind of mess about.
It's good though that it shows how much detail goes into.
Oh, it is. We do a session on
analysing and stuff, and it worked, didn't it? Like it works off of them and yourself. So the details make them things in sport, like 1%. Like you said, can I go this way a little? Can I move? And then you scored, and that's the match for you. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
it's the 1%.
High level percentages get you that far.
And the most important thing, you got another trophy.
Yeah,
the trophy. Yeah, most important thing. Chloe done the business and we won. Yeah. I think obviously Mary's saves were brilliant as well.
Fantastic,
and she, think she was screwing at the goal that we scored at the end. So in typical Mary fashion, she celebrated as she did.
Big character.
Big character. Yeah.
So we've spoken about kind of the success you've had recently with England and so on, but it's always fascinating for me to, I don't know whether it is for you as well, to kind of go back to where it all started for you. So we'll talk about how you joined Everton in just a second, but in terms of football, what are your first memories of football then? On the streets in Bootle as a kid, two jumpers down as a goal. Get a footy out and play until it goes dark, and
anyone can play.
Do
you want to come in? Do you want to play?
I know it's so interesting, right? Because I know a lot of the girls have stories about kind of not being accepted by the lads, and obviously it kills me to hear them stories. I just don't remember ever really feeling that way. Where I don't know if it's the city that we're from.
I think it is because it's built on football. The city
100%. is. And if you played and you were good, you were accepted. It didn't matter if you were a girl or a boy or red or a blue. If you were half decent or you could kick, you were involved. It didn't matter, and I'm so grateful for that. I think it definitely helped me in my journey to play football. But even in school with the lads, I was like, people say I was last picked. I was a girl. I was first picked every time. Like I love.
You were good. That's right.
But I was picking the team. Like I don't know. I just had a respect of the lads, and I don't know why. I can't answer that question, but I just never felt really uncomfortable in any situation playing with boys. Me playing with boys was probably the biggest thing for me. The way they tackled, the way they were with me, they treated me like a boy. It didn't matter if I was a girl and you can't tackle her, she's a girl. No, if you're playing,
and
you get treated the same.
Against you, like what made you better as and improved you, because it is, because they are quicker when you're little as well, you're younger, so you're getting that experience before you even played at a higher level. Exactly.
I do believe that was a big reason why I am the player I am, and I probably went on the journey that I did.
You said you grew up in Bootle. Whereabouts in Bootle was it?
Not far from Savio.
Not far. Oh, so you were up at up the hill, if you like.
Up the hill,
yeah. Because I was down at the other end, Marsh Lane, Knowsley Road, and
That's my nan's end. So I used to spend half of the week down there and half of the week up at the other end.
It's better at your end, though, isn't it? Really, than our end.
Yeah, I mean, in the nicest way. Yeah.
Don't let her answer that one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
mine's a bit further down.
No, because I was interested, because obviously growing up in Bootle myself, it's we didn't really have the facilities in Bootle or anything like that. So in terms of facilities wise, what did you have to do in order to play? Was it just street football?
Sure, street football.
Did you play at school, for example?
Anywhere we could put two jumpers down and play. I think, like you said, we didn't have goals or we didn't have amazing facilities, but it wasn't something that was a hurdle. It wasn't going to stop us from playing. I think, again, I relate to it a lot, but the city that we're from, we just always find a way to do things.
Exactly.
That's why I'm so humble and proud of where I'm from, because we haven't got the best of everything, but we make the best of everything.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
like a culture thing that we've got, isn't it? And I think like you've just said something really like, you know, you hear about stories about like people from Brazil and they play on the streets all the time, and like, obviously it's not that level like down in Liverpool, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that, but little things like that do go a long way. And if it wasn't accepted a bit further down in a different city, it's not normal. Like it wouldn't even be a question, like you said, to be like, oh, can you just play outside with some jumpers or some bins if you've got any bins as well? Purple ones, we got a bin actually. Yeah, it's normal, but I think like it shows, doesn't it, where you are, what city you're from, what country you're from. Like you can get advantages in different ways, even if you haven't got the money or facility that we've all got.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
But there's an determination, isn't there, as well? If you don't have anything, to actually make the most of what you've got. Yeah. You've got your jumper down. You play. Did you have early influences in your career? Did you have male role models, or did you have female role models as well? You know?
Mine were probably always male. I grew up a big Liverpool fan. I was a Red from the minute I could play football. My dad was a Red, and my mum actually grew up an Everton fan. But when she met my dad,
changed it.
He was like, well, listen,
you've got to marry me and change your city to football club. Sorry,
Red or
that never happened. Did that happen? Did that really happen?
Mum's a Red now. Yeah, she might tell me something different, but she's a Red as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I think what you just said there, I think putting I was Stevie all day. Stevie G. That's who I was. If I was back there defending, I was Cara, you know, I'd throw a last minute tackle in, or I thought I was a centre midfielder. That didn't work out to plan, did it? As soon as you got a left foot, you get put left back or centre back. But no, I was definitely, even at that young age, I knew I wanted to play football. Nothing was going to stop me from playing. I just knew. I knew.
Loved it.
I just loved it. I just loved football. I was obsessed. I still am obsessed with the game. I absolutely love football in a different way.
Even like the way you say it to us now is like you can see the passion, and like you're showing us that you love it. Do you know what I mean? It's nice to see that. It's not just like I like doing it or whatever, but like you can feel like your energy from it, which is great. You know what I mean? That's what we like. That's why you've excelled so well in the sport. And I think even like for the girls' game, like showing it. But I keep it going. Like,
Does it run out?
No.
Does it end?
Hope not.
But does it help though having somebody like Jamie Carragher coming from Bootle as well? You know, he also goes to Savio, which is your school as well at the same time. You know, did that have any influence on your ideas as to where you could potentially go with this?
I'd say it probably did to a certain extent, and then obviously I have to quickly realise he's in men's football and I'm in women's football. So the reality of it being the same was probably not possible. I think I looked up to him, one, because he was from where I was from. Everyone was proud of him being from Bootle, and like Stevie being from Liverpool, you know, they're the idols. And I used to think, I want to be the idol from Liverpool and Bootle, but from a girl's perspective. I want little girls to grow up in my city and go, I want to be Alex. And it doesn't always have to relate to being, not that something wrong that I want to be Steve Gerrard or Carragher, but who's the female role model for these girls? And I want to be that. And I definitely had that in a determination from a young age to maybe change that a little bit. I didn't know where it was going to take me or where it was going to carry me. I might never have got to where I got to, but so even when I was younger, I knew I just wanted to be something special from where I was from.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you definitely are. My actual little nephew, I was telling him I was doing a podcast with you. He's like, what? Shut up. Can you get a picture? And I was like, chill out. That's cool. You know what I mean? Like, so you've already done that. Do you know what I mean?
Even to say your nephew, that means a lot, you know, because you tend to go,
just
me daughters and nieces, and I've got 2 little nephews, and I want them to grow up knowing women's football is normal.
It was though. It was my little nephew's 12, so he does football.
Love that.
Looks up to you.
But it's just a little detour as well. So that basically means if Alex is from Bootle, she ain't got a purple bin.
No, I was thinking that because I remember what you were saying, what colours we had. So
grey bin for Bootle.
What colour bin have you got?
I don't know. I don't live at home anymore.
Your ma's got what colour bin have you got?
It's bad, innit? Because it's only
Sefton Council, I think, is grey.
I know, when you said Bootle, I was thinking...
I don't remember seeing a purple bin.
Oh, no, then. No. She hasn't got one.
No.
Stevie
Should we
G
just
wouldn't
end
be
it?
happy with that.
Should we just end the interview now? Is that
Sorry.
right? So you don't actually. But if you know, because we often joke about kind of purple bins and all the rest of it.
It's a weird thing that we've
it
brought up, and now we've just got to ask.
No,
everyone.
it's important, isn't it?
It is
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
But in terms, just as I say, just continuing with the detour. You know, from your perspective, what do you think is about Scousers that is special? You know, because we have our own identity.
Yeah.
What in your world, in your idea, is that identity? Is, you know, what makes a Scouser for you?
We're very unique people, that's for sure. But the best thing for me, the best way I define a Scouser, I think every Scouser wants every Scouser to do well.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do, whether you work with your dad, whether you play sport, whether you work in an office.
Yeah.
I think every Scouser wants every Scouser to be successful in some way. And I think you hear a Scouse voice, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be in an airport, you could be halfway around the world, which tends to happen because you bump into Scousers everywhere you go.
You're like, my family.
You just attract yourself to them, don't you? It's so organic. And I think no matter when I go home, doesn't matter who it is, whether they're in the same sport as me or not, or like example for this, I'll always want you to do well, and likewise you'll always want me to do well, and we always want it. We push each other, we back each other, and I'm not sure why that is, but we feel like we have a sense of way of looking after each other.
Yes.
And it's a natural thing. It's not put on. It's not like, oh, she's Scouser, I better tweet about it, I better repost her post.
Yeah.
It's just, no, I know what she's gone through, I know where she's from. I really want
It's
her to
weird
do well.
though. How does that even happen? Like, it's like a family that we don't even know. Do you know what I
Yeah, it
mean?
is.
But we're like, oh, come on, succeed. Like,
Yeah. And I think our city gets hard times sometimes.
It does.
I think
press,
I really think it does get a hard time, and I think it's got a stigma, it's got a label, and for many external reasons. But I think anyone who comes to Liverpool or meets the people, I can't ever want saying a bad word about a Scouser, and I don't know, I just...
the odd one, but like not
yeah,
like a high percentage, yeah.
A lot of people like Scousers get on with... I think we're very humble people, and I think we're very charismatic people. We enjoy a conversation. And
That's probably
you know.
it. We don't shut up, is it? So we're like...
Well, this podcast could go on for a couple of hours, I suppose, if we wanted it to, or even longer. You won't get your teeth in
that
later,
one
if that was the
question
case.
is like, yeah, try.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's very interesting. So let's go back to the football for a second. We've spoken about the early times in Bootle and trying to play and enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah.
How did the move to Everton come about then? How did you join the Everton Centre of Excellence?
I think I actually joined Everton. I was too young, so I think I was 5 maybe at the time, and I wasn't allowed to play any games. So I was still playing mini kickers on the board in Nuffield, and that's where it kind of started. It actually started. I was just a wild. I was a wild child. I had a lot of energy, and my mum was like, "What do I do with this kid? Like, let's find something to get rid of this energy." Anyway, my uncle, he was like, "There's girls' footy on the boards. Let's take it. It's Northfield." My mum was like, "No, absolutely not. I'm not sure it's for me. I'm not sure I wanted to do that." It speaks of the times, really, and the way women's football was maybe perceived then. I mean, she probably feel terrible that she said that now, because she's my biggest fan, number 1 fan in the world. Can't go anywhere without her. Can't do anything without her. But I think that was just the narrative, and that's just the way it was. And then the minute I went, that was it.
Again.
I found my niche, and I knew what I wanted to do. And when my mum actually, I think, or my dad, I can't remember who it was, said, "Oh, a fella from Everton to come down and ask you to go and train." So I did. I went. I trained. I think within a week, it was pretty much like you go back 3-4 times a week, and then eventually I joined the Centre of Excellence when I was 8. Played a couple of games at youth level, and that was it. I grew up a Liverpool fan, but I still see Everton as family. I think they nurtured me as in every way. Mo, Andy were so important to my career, and definitely the player and person I am today. 100% have a lot of thanks and gratefulness to them too, amongst so many others, by the way, at Everton. But I absolutely love my time at Everton, and I'd definitely say, as much as I'm a Red, that a large part of my heart was with Everton because of what they did for me growing up.
You mentioned there about Mo Marley. We spoke recently to Rachel Unitt, and
Legend.
you know, I mean, from my perspective, you know, from my career perspective, Mo played a massive part in my career, allowing me into the Everton squad for as long as she did, and allowing me to go on the trips to London and all sorts of things, because we spoke about it beforehand as well. That just wouldn't happen these days for reporters to jump on the Man City coach and just, go to London or whatever it is. So I'm always thankful for Mo. But
I need to meet Mo because remember Rachel was saying about
exactly.
it.
For me, I've always said it. I've always said it. Mo should be a dame. You know what I mean? She should actually be recognised more than. Because I think she's an MBE at the moment, but she should actually be.
I
more
think
than
that's
that.
from Mo's way. I think that's the way. I think she likes it that way.
Okay.
If I'm being honest, she's a very humble person, isn't she? But too modest.
Yeah.
I'm like, tell your story. She's got some of the best stories ever, by the way.
Even just use mentioning it, like in the Rachel mentioned.
It's great, when you talk about great Scousers.
It's great. So
I think if you
Mo one day,
get it on.
Get it on.
Honestly, she'd be brilliant. I think if you ask most youth players who I come through with, who probably helped them, I think 95% would say Mo had a part to play in there.
That's amazing though, for someone like that to have that effect on so many people and generally feel that, you know what I mean? Like, it's not for you to say it or say her name or say your journey through, but I think just even use free alone, just saying how good she was is so massive, and then I think that comes down to the character that she is. Absolutely. And hopefully one day she can.
We spoke about it before. The Euros win doesn't happen if Mo Marley doesn't do what she does for Everton and for 100%. England under-19s and the under-23s, or whichever age group that she's involved with. I mean, she even was caretaker manager for England at one point as well. So it's kind of like, if that doesn't happen.
People don't see them stuff though. People just see the big win on TV in Wembley. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's important that we mention that. But I think as players, we're very much conscious of remembering them people. And we done a day at the SGP not long ago where we do a thing now where we give everyone their cap. Yeah. So you get a number now of when you made your cap. And it's an amazing moment for everyone to be remembered for. Because if you've got a cap for England, best believe that's incredible. And you should be known for that. And you should be awarded with that cap. And we had a day, and Mo gave our caps out, and she actually gave mine out, and it was just a moment when I thought, you know what, that was top. Because she got so many memories with her, but to have that one at this stage of my career, where probably might not be managed by her ever again, probably not, was special.
But she gave you your Everton debut as well.
She did.
And I believe it was in the Champions League.
I think it was actually WSL, no, Champions League, you're right. It was Champions League. I think it was away in Lithuania. It was,
I'm trying.
Some good facts.
I'm literally trying to rack my brain.
Do you know why I remember it? Because I wasn't allowed out the hotel. Because I was under 18, and that's Mo. If I catch you or Nikita outside this hotel, I'm coming for you, Farah, Unitt, Brownie. You've got to look after them. Jono, look after them. Did we get out? We sneaked out a little bit. I was too scared of Mo. I wouldn't do that. Mo said.
Because you would have been 17 at that time.
I was 16. Me and Nikita was 16. Both of us at the same time.
And because memory serves, you actually scored. Was it during that trip as well?
Scored a pen.
Scored a pen. So it was a 10-0 win, wasn't it? Why? So right before
10-0.
Yeah, 10-0. Yeah, because it was the
still
early
days. Just say yeah.
It was early days of Champions League, so we don't talk about that anymore. But it was 10-0. And one of the things that I was thinking about at the time, why on earth wasn't Farah taking the pen?
She actually let me take it.
Exactly, because she already scored in the game, didn't she? So, and there was players scoring. I think Nikita scored a couple of goals. I think I'm testing my brain. It's 13
you're
years ago.
off here.
13 years ago.
You're bringing back some memories to me.
Exactly, So 13 years. So I wasn't even there either. So it's kind of like, but so you scored a pen in that. Yeah. Farah lets you take a pen.
Yeah. Yeah, that just speaks of Farah's personality and qualities, doesn't it? I've made my debut. I've bagged. She can have a pen. No, I actually think if she hadn't, she'd have still let me take it anyway, just for the moment and the occasion, and very much a Farah moment, to be honest. That's typical of her.
But for you as a young player, being 16, going on 17, to get your Everton debut that early. And to score as well.
Massive.
Where was your mind at that particular time?
I honestly can't even remember.
Can you not?
I don't think it really felt like that. I think it was just like, done it.
It's just what you do.
Done. Yeah, it's just what you do. I trained with them for quite a while. I'd been in and around them was enough anyway to go, this is what I want. I'm in and around these unbelievable players. To then obviously go and make my debut was, I would like to say, when I think about it, it was special then. I can't really remember now how it felt, but I think being around them players in general anyway was enough for me to go, okay, this is what I want to do.
And you were at the club when you moved into the WSL era as well, and it was kind of a bit of a disappointment start to the WSL era because it didn't really change anything. Arsenal was still winning the league, and Everton were kind of up there as well, trying to compete. But you look at your career at that particular point. You had Rachel Unitt in front of you in the team. You look at her. How much of an influence did she have on your career, for example? Because we spoke to her a few weeks ago as well, and she's just like, well, I hope I had some sort of influence. You can actually answer the question for Rachel now.
Well, I was actually saying, I reckon she does. I reckon she does. So let us know if you did.
That is such the typical Unitt answer. She's so humble and just so gracious in everything she did. But she did. When we spoke about Gerard and the Carragers, mine was Farah and Rachel Unitt always. And even now I still have a pinch me moment when I see her. Like,
I know you were saying before.
I really do, honestly. I adore her. I think she was just the way she played the game. Obviously she had an unbelievable left foot. I loved her left foot. It was unbelievable. For me, still one of the best left footed players I've ever seen in the game. She had a massive influence on me, probably without even knowing.
Yeah.
The way she carried herself, the way she conducted herself.
She was always elegant in that.
Definitely
the way she was
played elegant.
Yeah.
She spoke brilliant. She treated me just like another player. I wasn't like, all right, you're a kid, make sure never
an
like
equal,
that.
Yeah.
Very equal, guided me, advised me if I needed to ask her anything. I definitely made so many mistakes as a kid coming through and done stupid things, but I was never one to point the finger or it was just really exactly how she is now, like very calm and in a persona, and just kind of guided me without probably even knowing she was doing it.
Yeah, you were saying before when you were like asking us to do some passes up and down.
Honestly, any chance
that was
I could
at
get
Notts County, wasn't it?
Yeah, Notts County. Any chance I could get to just have a little knockabout with her. I was like, everyone else has gone Unitt, me and you have a little knockabout. Yeah, honestly.
Quality.
But her left foot was incredible.
Yeah, I don't think she gets a lot of credit for that.
No,
I mean, because
no.
I said to her at the time, after Euro 2005, she was like the David Beckham of women's football because she did have an influence on so many young girls at that time.
She was like, yeah, cheers.
So we basically had a little chat about it, and then basically she turned around and went, "Well, the answer's no, then, isn't it?" You know what I mean?
No, we said about the money and stuff.
Exactly, it was about the money and that sort of thing. You see, because you turned around, didn't you, and said, "Did she get what David Beckham got with it?"
Oh, right.
And she went, "Well, the answer is no, then, isn't it? Really, let's face it." But that was a case of where women's football was at the time, and you can see where you are now and seeing that actually, see that progression.
Changed the.
But just to round off your career at Everton, what memories do you have of that particular time in your career? Because it was your first club. You mentioned there in terms of football, outside of being a fan, as a footballer, it was your first love as well in terms of Everton. What memories stick out for you in that time?
So many good memories. In every way, I think it shaped me as a person. Everton brought me up from being a 6-year-old kid to a 19-year-old teenager. They taught me be humble, have respect, all the good morals in the game, and how you act in defeat, how you act when you win, and just the basics of being a good human being, let alone footballer. And then obviously football side of it takes care of itself. I was exposed to so many good situations, Champions League when I was 15, 16, WSL debut, and all the first come at Everton, and the big moments at so young in your career, they started there. So obviously so many amazing memories, and obviously the one that stands out to me, which I probably still a little bit regret, was obviously the back end of my time at Everton when we got relegated, and it was a really, really tough time at the club, and Mo had gone and Andy took over as manager, and I think it was really hard for him at the time to go through that. And for me, I loved the club so much, and to have to make a decision to leave almost was heartbreaking. I don't think people probably realised how hard that was. And I think for all the good memories, some way that stands out because it probably didn't end the way I wanted it to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
It's sad and like you had to leave a part of it behind, but you knew it was probably right to do.
Absolutely, yeah. Selfishly.
But you've got to do that. You've got to be like that in sport. Like you can't just hold yourself back for other things. And but like you said, it means something to you. But like sometimes some things you've just got to take that leap of faith and change a few things for the future.
Absolutely,
do you know what I mean? Going forward, and it's paid off for you. Do you know what I mean?
I still speak to Andy now as well and stuff, so I think we're all right.
So from Everton, where did you go from after there? You went to Liverpool?
No, I signed for Notts County then.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I signed for Notts County for, again, they were making some really good signings. They were signing some top players at the time, actually. I was actually really excited by the project and what they were trying to do. And
Was Rick Passmore still a
Rick
manager?
Passmore,
Yeah.
he was,
Yeah.
Very interesting manager and someone I'd never really...
He's a character.
As a character.
He's a character.
Brilliant character. He was great for me.
Yeah,
he was really good for
yeah,
me.
he's
I
a
mean,
good guy.
you
He's
knew
a
where
good
he stood,
lad,
let me tell you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Put you in your place.
Oh, yeah.
Every now and again, I still get a message from Rick Passmore.
Yeah, what a guy.
Still.
He was a top fella, he really was. I have nothing but respect for him. I think he was really great for me in the season that I was there. I think the thing for me was moving away from home.
Yeah.
Probably growing up a little bit. I'd have everything on a plate, really, you know, training at everything, getting picked up, dropped off. Obviously, so much sacrifice from my mum and dad to do that because it's everything in their lives revolved around Alex. So I think it was like, okay, maybe I need to grow up a little bit. I need to move away from home.
Learn how to cook.
Not to cook and wash.
Wash. Clean. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Washing's the hardest.
Sounds as though you've been through this as well.
We had to do all this.
Can relate.
Yeah.
So,
Like, Mum, can you give me some dinners?
Can you drive up to Nottingham by any chance to drop me some dinner?
Probably did as well, didn't he?
Honestly, you only went to Manchester. You know,
I
what
still
mean?
ask them, still
Yeah.
do now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
can
do
you come
I.
up?
You
Honestly,
live by
I
the
love it.
restaurant you do.
It
and
never
then get
leaves you
yourself-
that.
No,
Mum's
you
cooking.
don't.
You can't beat it, can
They-
you?
And for some reason, they just say, yeah, go on then. And you're like, go on then, why not?
Nothing's ever a problem for them,
31,
is
I'm
it?
still asking my mum to cook for me, do you know what I mean?
I can't, even the Greeks do the same thing. So.
I do the same thing, and I'm a little bit older than you, so there you go. It's a Scouse thing. Let's put it down
is.
to that.
We'll do that, eh?
But yeah, back to Notts County.
Yeah, so I left, I went there, I moved into a clubhouse, so we shared the house with a couple of the other girls, which was different again. I've not been used to that and exposed to that, and I think at the time Jack had left to sign for Brentford. So I used to put up quite a few miles on my car to go up and down the motorway back to Liverpool when I could, up to Brentford when I could, and I actually loved that season. I think I played every minute of every single game. I got in Team of the Year. I had a really good season to be exposed and kind of find myself a little bit, and if that makes sense.
I know what you mean, yeah.
As much as I'd played a lot for Everton, I think this was like, okay, I've arrived a little bit and I know where I stand.
You kind of started, as a player, you started to grow up at that particular time.
Probably that's the word I was looking for,
And you started to, how can I put it, grow into your own skin almost, you know what I mean? It was that type of moment for you to go to
Definitely. I think that was probably leaving at that moment, as much as it killed me. It was the perfect moment to do it.
And how long were you there for?
I was there for 1 year, one season I was there for.
And this is an interesting thing that I remember watching your career from afar. And seeing that over the next period, we'll talk a bit more in depth about it. Over the next period, I think you must have had about 5 or 6 clubs in 5 or 6 years almost.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go through the list now for you. So Notts County, you moved after Everton in 2015.
Yeah.
You moved to Liverpool in 2016.
Yeah.
Come back.
You then go to Manchester United, which I want to go into a bit more depth with in a little bit as to reasons for that. In 2018, you moved to Lyon in 2019, and then Manchester City in 2020.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of movement at that time. Before we go in depth as to the times at each one of those clubs, for example, what was the thinking behind that? Were you trying to find something? Was it just opportunities arose and you moved?
I think.
Or was it just part of it?
Or did you just get a caravan instead of
just bought a caravan. It's like, where should I go next?
Stop off here for a bit.
Any clubs around here? I think there was always a method to the madness, if you want to say. I think every decision I made, I didn't make without any thought process. I think after not signing for Liverpool, in that moment, I was probably like, okay, this is my club. I'm going home. I'm back to the club I've supported all my life. I'm going to be here forever.
Yeah.
That was how I felt, and I was like, okay, this is how I want it to look. I'm going to buy a house at home. I get to be with my family. I've experienced living away 2 hours.
Yeah.
Obviously, little did know there couldn't have been. Little did know it couldn't be any further from the truth. But at that moment, that was that thinking. I was like, I'll get to play for the team I've supported. I get to put the badge on that I've loved, and it was amazing for my dad and my mum to play for the club, and my family all Reds.
You were home, weren't you?
Yeah, I was home, and that's exactly how I felt. I'm back, I'm home, I'm not leaving. This is what I want to do. Football does not work like that.
No, it doesn't, no.
No.
Because you joined a club that was in a little bit of turmoil as well at that particular time, which kind of doesn't help after the success that they had. They were trying to find something and then just ended up couldn't find it.
Rebuilding,
Oh, do you know what? We massively underachieved at that club.
Yeah.
We had some unbelievable players.
Yes,
I could reel them off, and we were a team that should have done a lot better than what we did.
Kaz
and
Weir and all sorts of players.
to name a few, Kaz, Shanice, Sophie Ingle,
Yeah.
Gemma Bonner,
Yeah.
Katie Zellum. Probably missing out some big players here that will probably say something to me when I've mentioned them, but there was some big players in that team, and we underachieved for many reasons.
Yes.
And we had the base, if you want to say, and we had a base structure with nothing.
But at that time, if you know that's going to happen, even though you want to stay, even though you think this is it, this is the place you want to be, if it's not working, it comes back to that like selfishness. You know what you need to do to get further on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know how you want to excel even more in your career. So if it is the right time to go, it's the right time to go. It might not be planned, but things change in an instant, and you've got to like adapt to it on the spot. And that's what you did. That's what you've showed.
I have no regrets of leaving. I think the reason I don't have any regrets is because I can sit here and say I tried my utmost to try and make the club be in a better place in terms of like difficult conversations with, if at that time the manager was Scott Rogers, and I probably now looking back regret some of the things how that went with the manager, but my older, wiser Alex now probably goes, he had a really tough job.
He did.
Yeah.
He had a
was under
really
pressure.
tough job,
He was
and I
under, he was
respect
under
him
a lot
so
of
much
pressure.
now. And at the time I didn't, I'll be honest. I was young, I was naive, I thought it was all his fault, and it really wasn't.
No.
The
Yeah.
bigger picture was he didn't get to
they're dealing with.
support.
Yeah, because there was a lot of changes in the background, and the club didn't really deal well with those changes and didn't move with it.
We're still training on 4G. We still have,
exactly. Yeah,
you know, we're playing in Widnes, and we can all speak. Widnes isn't Liverpool.
Yeah.
How are you expecting to get the support from a city that isn't in the same cities where you
it's not
play?
the
And
same, is it? It's not going to be like that.
I didn't feel like I was playing for Liverpool Football Club. I felt like I was putting the training kit on, and
like a fraud or something.
yeah,
in a
almost
way.
like it frustrates me a little bit because it was never anything I ever imagined it to be, and I really wanted it to work out a lot different than what it did. But again, great memories, great moments to grow up and change in different ways, and train with Casey, who showed me loads of different characteristics that I needed to learn. And again, it's definitely piece of the puzzle that I definitely needed, but it just didn't work out how I wanted it to.
Yeah, sure. And then there was the decision after that, because you were there for 2 years at Liverpool. There was a decision after that to go to Manchester United. It was a more interesting decision, you know, because they were in the league below. They'd been out of it since 2005. The club didn't have any involvement in women's football. Then they applied to come back, and they were put into the Championship. Yeah. So then Casey Stoney was appointed manager. And then I remember being in the BBC in Salford and seeing a report that came through, and it said Alex Greenwood has joined Manchester United as captain. And so I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because you were in the England setup at this particular time. You were in the England team. I think that year, memory serves, you got 6 caps that particular year. So it was kind of like, okay, then you're in the England team. Yeah. You're going into the league below. How does that conversation even happen? And what were the thought processes for you to actually
I could
join
probably
Manchester
take you
United?
even back to the conversation before I even signed for Manchester United, because I left Liverpool with actually no idea what I was going to do next. Yeah. Being honest, and I was quite comfortable with that. I knew I was in good form. I knew I could move on to another club. It was more a case of where I was ready to move to, whether it was abroad. Did I want to stay in England? Did I want to try something new? And I was actually in Blue Mall in Ibiza with Jack. Just literally lying there. I got text off Casey saying, I'm going to be the manager at Man United. I'd love to have a conversation with you. Yeah. And honestly, I looked at the message and I read it, and I said to Jack, come on.
You're not going to do this.
I said, 1, I'm not going to a league below. Yeah. And 2, I'm not playing for Man United.
Yeah.
I said, come on, I just can't do that. Like, I just
proper scouts in you there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Here I am. I was like, I just can't. Like, I can't go to the league below. I can't do it. It would.
Yeah, because it's like a back step in your own mind, isn't it? Like,
well, that's why it's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's why it's so interesting.
I was like, does this jeopardise everything I've worked towards? We've got a World Cup.
Yeah.
World Cup to prepare for, and I was like, no, I can't. Anyway, my agent at the time messaged me and said, Casey's been in touch, she'd love to have a conversation. I suggest we just go and have a conversation. I don't think it will do you any harm. So I was like, okay, let's do it. I met Casey at Old Trafford. Even going to Old Trafford, I was like, what am I doing here? Like, I've grew up to dislike this club, and I was like, can I walk in, can I not? Funny. Like, what's going on here? And my honest answer is, I was sat in a meeting with for 20 minutes. I went in 100% sure I was never going to play for the football club.
Yeah.
Without
You
any
just went
doubt.
there for the
I went there for the
conversation.
respect of Casey because
Yeah.
I
Of
had
course, yeah.
utmost respect for her.
Everybody does,
And then
yeah.
wanted her to do unbelievably well because she had every capability of being an incredible manager, and I think she's proved that. I walked out and I was like, I'm signing for Man United.
God, she's a good salesman there.
Without a doubt in my mind, Casey, she went into detail of the idea for me, not just as a club. She obviously spoke about the club, but everything was about me and how she was going to facilitate the situation of not being in the top league and how she was going to expose me to different positions and the work I'd do more from Monday to Friday and how the loading would be and the exposure to like high intensity football and be fatigued on a Sunday. Even under fatigue, so you were better for it. And it just made sense in everything that she was saying. And I still walked out like, am I really going to sign for Man United? At this point, it was more like, am I signing for Man United more
than what the package is?
Than what the package is. So obviously I thought about it and I sat there and I thought, I think I'd be a fool to not sign here. And obviously a little bit inside me felt a little bit sick, if I'm being honest, because I was like, can I actually really do this? Like, can I put on a Man United shirt? I've been brought up to hate this club.
Wrong red there.
In every way. And again, obviously, you put your football hat on and your career hat on and you say, for my career, and this is the right choice in this moment. And
but it's still a bold decision, though.
Yeah,
even though you know Casey Stoney is a very, let's say, persuasive character.
Yeah.
For you to go in there with the intention of not doing anything but walking out of there and go and find another club, for her to convince you and for you to then take that step with everything pretty much on the line, because if it goes wrong, it goes wrong.
Oh yeah,
that's a big thing.
It's like you heard what you got, like you wanted to hear, but then it was like, did she like sell you? She sold you what you wanted to hear, but then was it what you wanted? And when you got there, was it?
Yeah, it fulfilled everything.
Did it turn out exactly the way
you? Yeah. But more so, like when she made me captain, that responsibility, was I ready to be captain? Probably not. Being honest, no, I probably wasn't captain material.
Yeah.
In terms of the team I was in, I was the captain because I was the most experienced. I was the senior international at England, and I'd already spoke to Phil at the time, the manager, Phil Neville, about what I was doing, and I explained to him, I actually asked him, listen, is this going to jeopardise my England career? Because if it is, I won't go. Because at that time, playing for England was probably more important than signing for Man United.
Yes.
And he assured me, listen, if you're performing every week and you're delivering at England and you're up to the standard when you come in, you're treated like everybody else. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And how I kind of think of it now is there's some leagues that maybe, I don't know, outside of PSG and Lyon in France, you probably compare some of the teams in our championship to some of the teams in that league, if that in the nicest way possible. Yeah. And some players will maybe playing abroad then, but obviously with higher calibre of players around them. So that was the difference. But I spoke to him and he was really honest with me and he said, listen, if you're not getting picked. Yeah. That's up to you.
Yeah.
And
that's what you want to hear, though. Because then you're doing it for you, not just because you've signed something.
Exactly.
Or you've gone somewhere else. If you're performing, you're getting picked.
Exactly
that's
that.
That's the way it should be. It was
as clear as that.
Yeah.
If you're not, I'll tell you, and you're not, you won't be playing for England. And to be fair to him, he was pretty honest with me. And he grew up as a Man United legend, and he could have easily gone, yeah, I'll pick you play for Man United and
come over,
and all that. No, he was not that way at all. He was pretty firm on me and said, I think you should do it for your personal career and your life and what it can do for you. But at the same time, I think, I'm gonna hold you and make you accountable for what you're doing.
Still like,
yeah, exactly. Signing still quivering with that pen in your hand.
Do I?
But the thing is, though, it worked out exactly as you planned. You say it kind of, and you also gained promotion as well with the club. So
that's a bonus.
It was what when Manchester United came into the game, that was what the outcome was. Get promotion first season, because they did apply, from what I can remember, to get in the top tier.
Okay.
And everybody kicked off and went, no, you're not doing that. You can go in the championship. So they got what they wanted. So everything's hunky dory. You're going into the next season.
Yeah.
You go to Lyon. How did that come about?
So we had the World Cup in France.
Yeah.
Obviously didn't go to plan, the World Cup.
Yes,
It didn't turn out as we expected, and I mean that's football, right? Whatever. Can't try to raise that one out of the memory a little bit. Delete.
I think everyone's got one of them, though, haven't they? Everyone's like, I just don't even bring it up.
The Euro in the Netherlands for me was one of them, and the World Cup for different circumstances, different reasons. I came back. When I played, I done okay at the World Cup. I think I played all right. I think. the games I played in, I think I'd played well, and I got exposed to different situations. And when I came back, we had a pre-season tour in Norway, I think. And at the time, I had a year left on my contract at United, and they were offering me a new one. They just wanted to sit down and speak about it. And then my agent rang me and said, I'd already had contact with Lyon a couple of years before and didn't end up going for a reason on their behalf of players coming in and out. So she rang me and said, Lyon have been back on the phone again. They'd love to sign you. And I was like, really? Like why? I don't understand why. Like, and she was like, oh no, like they really, really want to sign you, like at all costs. Like they want you there, like for pre-season. So I was like, wow, okay. Like, didn't really expect that one to come out, to be honest. What do I do here? Like, how does this look? I'm going into the league I want to play in. I'm captain of Man United.
Yes.
Now it's a hard decision to go.
Now it's like, do a
12 months after making the decision to go to United and going through that turmoil, you're now going through similar again.
But in a very different way. I'm now going from a championship team to a Champions League winning team. Now, when you say it like that, you're like,
with
how did you even hesitate?
Like Arda Hegerbergen and,
Maro and
exactly.
Wendy and to name a few.
Yes.
And people can probably sit and go, how did you even like question going?
But you must have had a feeling, like, obviously.
It was more because I was like, again, I'm where I'm meant to be. I'm home. I classed Manchester as home then. I'd settled. I'd bought a house in Manchester. I was with Jack, and my training ground was 2 minutes down the road. Everything just seemed where it was meant to be. And then the phone goes and it's like, oh, Lyon want you. And I'm like, wow, have I got to make another decision again?
Just flip it all over again.
Yeah, like, is this really happening? Like, what do I do? Yeah. So anyway, I had some time to think about it. I spoke to Jack and he was like, you have to go. You have to go. This opportunity will not come around again, and you have to go, and you'll regret it for the rest of your career if you say no. Yeah. I obviously flew out to Norway for pre-season. I spoke with Casey. I said, I've had this opportunity, and if I was respectful enough to say, if the offer from them isn't enough for the club to be happy, I'm happy where I am. I'll give you everything I've got. It's not making me head turn. I'm not going to ask for a request to leave. I'm not going to make it difficult. I'm really not going to do that because I'm happy where I am, and I have a lot of respect for you. But if the offer is right, I would like you to let me go because I would like to go there. And then when we was out in Norway, it happened. The fee was what it was, and I was in Norway about to play a game the day later, and I left. I got on a plane. I flew back to Manchester, got some stuff in the morning. I flew to Lyon in the afternoon.
That quick? Is it that quick of a turnaround?
That quick. I had to do medical. So
really?
I literally flew in, and I think that was maybe a Tuesday, and the Saturday Lyon were flying to America for a pre-season tour. Okay. Yeah. So
you were going to go with them?
I was going with them. Yeah. So I was flying Manchester, grab some stuff, get dressed, take a bag, fly to Lyon. I flew back from Lyon the same night. I'd done 3 flights in one day, packed a suitcase, and then I had a little bit of like a moment where like, what have I just done? Yeah. I've just up and lifted my life to France. I was so settled there. I was happy where I was. I had a little feeling of like, have I made the right decision a little bit? And obviously I was used to being around my family when I needed to. I had Jack at home, and then all of a sudden I was going to go and live in a foreign country I didn't know any of the language. I didn't know anything. And
it's a big move,
I was really, really like scared a little bit, and I don't know, I just thought like, okay, why have I done this? Anyway, flew to USA on pre-season.
You signed it, you had to go.
Signed, yeah.
Just like, anyway.
Bit late now. Signed, get on the plane, get yourself back. Yeah, but again, the best experience I've ever had in my life. It was incredible.
Because I was filming for the BBC last year, and it was just before the Champions League final. We were doing some filming with Arda Hegerberg.
Okay.
And you can't help, I'm assuming as a footballer, fall in love with, what you've got over there.
What was it, just another level there, like at the time? And
I was a bit like, you're the best team in the world.
Or maybe I was just showing the best bits. Maybe that's where it was.
Well, no, they're all under the same umbrella, so I'm guessing you got to say the same as I did.
Or maybe the media room I was in was a decent media room.
Listen, the stadium and the training ground. It was special.
Yeah.
I can't deny it was special. No. Did it think it related to being the best team in the world?
I see what you mean.
No, I didn't. What came out of what they had, I was like, you're definitely overachieving for what you're getting.
Why do you think it was that then? Why
they're used to winning, and if it works, you stick to what you've got. And I think as the game went on, maybe they were like, well, what works for us, we're going to keep. And then as the game develops, you've got to move with the times. Like, I can only speak about my facility that I use now. And
You're very spoiled now.
yeah.
Let's face it, you've got the best facility in the world, I think.
No,
it's incredible.
It's funny when I say that though, like you have to keep with, if it's winning, why change something
Exactly.
what's not broke? Do you know what I mean? But like you said, sometimes even if you are winning, you've still got to adapt because the game just changes and changes. So if it works for them, sometimes it is better simple. Keeping what you've got and keeping what them winning things are. So it's good to hear that, because like obviously we still think the gym's good, but if you came in, you're like, whoa, what is this place? It's not like world class or whatever, but
by any imagination.
they were winning with something else. They had whatever it was that they were winning. They had this formula and it's working. So it's crazy. It shows you, doesn't it? It's not all about money. It's about the
mentality, and obviously the players speak for themselves and how good they were, but their mentality was different level.
Did you feel that? Did you see that as soon as you got there?
As soon as I walked in, of course, their presence itself was something I'd never experienced. You know, I walked into a changing room and I looked from every single seat and I was like, best player in the world, one of the best players in the world, one of the best players in the world, one of the best players in the world. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, why am I here a little bit, you know? Like, I really was a little bit at one point. And then obviously when I started training and I found my feet a little bit in France and picked up the language a little bit and found my way, I was like, I'm where I'm meant to be. I'm fit here, I'm good enough to be here. I'm probably one of the best trainers every day. And I gained a lot of respect from the girls there. I actually really loved the team. They were a brilliant group of girls, and when you needed to turn it on to be the best, I was like, oh, wow, this is why you're the best, because you just know how to turn it on. It was just incredible to see.
When you were there, though, I'm assuming, was it right that when you were there, Lucy Bronze, Nikita Paris, Jodie Taylor and Izzy Christiansen were there at the same time? Is that right?
Yeah, so Izzy was there when I got there, and then she left.
She left, didn't she?
So Keita and Luce were still there, but Jodie came right at the end of mine,
Okay.
But obviously having, again, another Scouser.
That's what I was going to say, but does it help having Lucy and Nikita there?
It definitely did help. It helped having the girls there it's more so Lucy and Izzy when I got there to help with like apartments and banking. I mean, the club were brilliant with everyday life. Where do we go for me shopping or stuff like that?
Because you don't think about that stuff.
Oh, no one does. People think you just go to Lyon and everything's done. Like, honestly, driving on the other side of the road, going to the shop saying, where's this? I couldn't say where's this because they're going to understand me. So
bread.
I had Feel Good Translate on my phone every day. Excuse me, like,
to French.
Trying, honestly. But I got there in the end. I learned a bit. I done all right. And I got by. And at the end of it, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Best thing I ever did.
And you got medals for it as well.
Yeah.
Champions League, Ligue 1, French Cup, and the Community Shield, effectively there as well.
Yeah.
So you came back with a lot of
bling.
A lot of bling there. So in terms of those clubs so far, we'll get into Manchester City in just a second, but in terms of those clubs so far that we've spoken about, which one would you say you had the most joy at in terms of your happiness?
Oh, it's going to be a hard question.
Oh, that's hard, yeah. That's I'd probably say none outdo the others, I think.
Okay. Different experiences and all of them.
Very different experience at every one. I've gone from being a captain at Man United to then walking into a change room thinking I didn't belong at Lyon.
Imposter syndrome,
it's crazy to even compare that situation with that one. I think for every time I get asked the question about, you play for Liverpool, Everton, Man United, Man City, do you regret it? I don't regret any part of it.
Yeah.
Because every part of it played a massive...
Not bad clubs to play for, let's face it, not bad
no,
names.
They're not. But every bit of it shaped the person I am. And does it do well from where I'm from? No, of course, it's not stupid. But I still get, obviously, a lot of stick about it. And
you as well, do you know what I mean? Like,
but the thing is, though, I mean, having been in football for as long as I have, the public perception of what football team is and what it means, if you're a Liverpool fan, you're entrenched in what it is to be a Liverpool fan. Same with Everton, same with Manchester United, same with Manchester City. But if you're a footballer and it's your profession, you have to react to what's going on around you. Yeah. If you're not happy at the club or it isn't going the way you want it to, or you get an offer to go to the the European champions, you have to react to that situation. Yeah. So you've done everything right as far as I can see.
Saying what you've said, I would have done the same thing. Do you know what I mean? You've got to make yourself the best player you could be. Yeah. And it sounds like you made the right decision for each one. Yeah. And you've learned a little bit, and each one's been so different, and that's why you're here now, still winning, smashing it. Do you know what I mean? And that will be all part of your life.
Yeah, for sure. I think from an outward perspective, everyone goes, how can you do that? Like,
Yeah,
but people don't know all
picture,
sometimes
yeah.
the things that go on the inside.
Correct.
And the things probably I know that maybe I can never talk about certain
Yes.
clubs that happen.
Yeah,
and
that's in everything,
in
every
everything,
place.
every place.
Wherever
you have
there's
them
people,
Sport
moments.
place,
there happens,
workplace,
yeah.
that happens everywhere.
But rightly so. I mean, I'm all for like fans giving me stick,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think it's great. I think it's great for the game. When it crosses the line is when it's a different story.
Yeah.
But I'm all for that. I think I don't mind taking a bit of stick for where I've played. I think it's funny and it's part of the game.
Own it.
I own it. Yeah, I haven't got a choice but to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Imagine, oh God.
So you've been all over the place. It seems you've been all over the world, all over different, playing for different teams, learning French as well. Have you got any French? No, I won't ask you that question. But you ended up at Manchester City.
Yeah.
Now you've been here now since you left Lyon, which was what 2020. You left Lyon. Well, so end of 2019, beginning of 2020. And you've just recently signed a new contract as well. So Am I okay in saying you're actually happy here? You're not gonna get back in that caravan again?
Yeah.
You're gonna leave that caravan where it is, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when I've said along the way, searching for somewhere you feel like is gonna be home, I think I've definitely found that here.
Yeah.
For so many different reasons. Again, obviously being back in England, for me it's the best league. The club formula and the way it runs and the way we play football is completely how I see the game being played, and I 100% will say like this feels like home to me.
And I think it's, we spoke about facilities and that sort of thing. You are in the best facility probably in the world at the moment, and arguably the one club, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that really, really looks after its players, whether it be men or women. Yeah,
we're very lucky in the sense we get everything we need on a daily basis, and I feel very fortunate that I get to turn up for work every day, and I have these facilities available to me, and it only makes me want to be better and use the facilities to my advantage. And I obviously quietly remind the young players, no, you're in the best facility and make sure you use it, and
don't take
advantage. Yeah, exactly. Don't take it for granted. Use it to your advantage. And I definitely wake up and feel blessed every morning when I drive into work.
That's good though. That's something you wanna say. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah, I do.
That makes you just enjoy the game then and play for it and excel at it even more.
Exactly. You can't not really when you've got that available to you, really.
Because I remember speaking to Jill Scott a couple of years ago about because she was at City at the time, and we were just having a chat over a coffee and stuff, and she was saying
over a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we wonder why that is. And she was saying there's a big difference between what players had when she was coming through, and the same probably when you were coming through as well at the same time, to what they get given now. And she believed a part of her role was to make the younger players understand that you've still got to be humble, you've still got to work hard, because you're lucky to be in this position now.
Yeah, I probably agree to a certain extent. I think reminders are important to the younger players. I think for me and how I would probably approach a younger player now, and Jill was that mentor for me as well, and she's someone I absolutely idolise, and class is a really good friend actually. Mine's more a sense of use it to your advantage. Take what you can from it, and the facilities that you've got. Got to remember, they don't know any different at the end of the day.
Yeah, so you can't be going, oh, we didn't have this, we didn't have that, but you use it to your
advantage.
Use
it to your advantage for sure. I can't sit there and say to them, make sure you respect these players and stuff. They didn't know anything before then.
Yeah.
But I think the younger girls are very much reminded what came before, and they did aware of it, and they're very, very humble in that and grateful. And of course, you get your odd one or two who are a bit more wild and stuff, but it's normal. It's part of the way the world's moved on and the way things are now. But I definitely do think it's important that you remind players still, because I think you kind of lose that a little bit in the game now.
I think you made it before, when you were back in Everton, they taught you about defeat and how to be in defeat and victory, and that's what you're trying to say, isn't it? It doesn't matter if you've got all this stuff, you've still got to be the respectful,
absolutely,
willing to drive and hungry. You've got to be. If you'd had nothing, would you still train the same?
Exactly,
if you'd had these facilities, would you still run in the rain or whatever? I think that's you can't be I
don't think you can teach that though. I think you've
got to have that.
You've got to have that. Yeah, I think you can push players, and I'm certainly someone who does push young players. I think I definitely try and get the best out of them, as long as I know them as a person first. I think that's important, and how far I can push them, and what I ask and demand of them before I can as a player. I think that's something I've definitely learned as I've grown up. But I think my biggest thing is like what you said, like if you had nothing, would you still have the same determination?
Yeah.
Would you still be getting up every day and wanting to be in the game?
Yeah.
Like that's the question that people forget when you're surrounded by like the money or the facilities and stuff. And but like I said, it's hard to teach or
it's hard because that's the way the game is now, and the world's moved on and football's moved on, and you can't live in the past. You've got to move with things and move with the times. And so going back to it, I'm very grateful for what I've got.
But when you joined City, was it a big sell for you? You know, you talk about, you know, the chat you had with Casey Stoney when you went to Manchester United, the very quick chat you had before you went to Lyon. I mean, when the chat came to coming back to England, for you, was it a long conversation that you had with the football club? For me, on the outside, I'd be like, where do I sign?
Yeah.
So was that the same for you?
Yeah, it was. I think I heard about City being interested in December. My contract was running through till August maybe, and then extended because of COVID. Yes. And obviously I wanted to see my contract out. I could have cut it short and come back, but I went there to win trophies, and I wanted to play in the Champions League final, and I'll be
why not?
sitting here regretting not having a Champions League medal, you know. I had my agent obviously had a conversation. I was able to sign for City a pre-contract because of it was abroad and stuff like that. But I didn't. I chose not to. I chose to agree in principle that I was potentially coming back to Manchester, and I spoke to the club. I spoke to obviously Nick Cushion left, and Gareth Taylor then become the manager. So I spoke to him quite a lot, and the way he described the game to me, and obviously the way City Football Group want to play the game, and his style of play, it was almost like okay, that couldn't be more me if I tried. You know what I mean? The way I see the game being played, it was weird. I was like, God, everything I see the game being played, and I watch Man City men anyway, and the style of football, and the women, to be honest. Obviously, it's slightly different to Nick in some ways. But it just felt right. I can't really imagine my life right now being anywhere else.
You want to be here. You found the place.
I found the place. I found like my football home, really.
And we're talking about football home, but your home, as I know, being a Bootle lad, is always going to be Bootle, regardless of the situation. And after the Euros win, you get, or your agent and everybody get together, and then all of a sudden there's the idea of a mural going to be painted of you in Stanley Road, opposite the Triad. Yeah, there is. There's one
cool.
at the Triad. What goes through your mind when conversations are happening, and then eventually it does happen and it's painted on the wall?
Do you know what? Like at first I was like, really? Really? Like, come on. Like, it didn't have, I actually really was like, this is a good idea or what? Like, a painting of me outside, face on the wall outside the Hyper, like, by the Strand, and is that really what I want it to be? Like, and then obviously as the idea come together, I was like, okay, like this could be quite special. The more I thought about it, because it sounds stupid, but like things like that, like, it gets me a bit overwhelmed. Like, do I really want my face up on the wall? Like, it's okay, I'll just go into schools and I'll speak. I don't mind. I don't need a picture on the wall.
What you were saying before, weren't you, about the Steven Gerrard, Jamie Carragher? Yeah. Like, it's happened.
It's happened,
exactly
that.
There.
And then
everyone knows Alex now, do you know what I mean?
Because Jamie Carragher has got one a couple of streets away from where I was brought up, opposite the boys' club. Yeah. Opposite the boys' club. He's got his own there. And not only has he's got him as a child, him as an adult, I think, lifting the European Cup. Yeah. And then there's a Hillsborough. Part of it as well. So, but, you've got your own and all. Just down the road.
It's mine now.
Yeah, exactly. I got a little kicking one in town somewhere, but I want a whole face. I want a whole face if anyone's saying.
Because there's like a head and shoulders bit, isn't there? And then there's you. I'm trying to think now. Is it you celebrating something or
celebrating a win? Yeah.
I think it's good that happens though. Like, that just shows Liverpool again. That Scousers putting it out there, putting the people in Liverpool, from Liverpool, who've done stuff out there. Like, you don't have to do that. They've done it. Like, I think they just recently did it for Paddy and Molly, as well, on the wall. So it's nice to see that recognition from it, and
just proud of each other, aren't we? And I think you
don't do it for all them moments, that one wall picture, but you do it. Of course, them little things come extra, and
absolutely.
But it's almost like, we were talking to Rachel Unitt about this, and she said it wasn't till she got a golden cap that she actually thought, you know what, I've done all right. Yeah. you and I will have both seen her play, you know, so many times and know exactly the sort of player that she was.
Yeah.
Does this give you an extra seal of approval that, you know, you've done all right?
Yeah, I think it did. You know, I think it did from a sense of like, this is where I'm from.
Yeah.
I've done my city proud, and they are actually proud of me. And the fact that people walk past it every day who I grew up with, and people go to school every day, little girls, little boys, my nephews walk past that. And I think, you know, like, that's quite a special moment. And I think that's something I definitely was like, you know what, like, I'm really proud of that. And I feel like really thankful that they decided to do it. Because when it was up and we had a little get together in there, like, I invited old teachers from old schools, primary school, kind of everyone who'd helped shape me who I was. Family, you can imagine what that was like, obviously.
Massive, the whole street.
Well, yeah, it's just madness. Obviously, all there, crazy bunch of scousers outside the Hyper Bar for this mural. But honestly, it really was. I turned up and I was like, okay, this is so much better than, more special than what I ever thought. Yeah. Thank you.
And also the thing with your story as well is that, you know, you've had this long relationship with Jack, you know, Jack O'Connell, who plays for Sheffield United. And, you know, tell us a little, I don't want you to go into too much depth about it, but you met him when you were quite young as well, weren't you? You know, so you were at Savio at the time, and then Everton told you to go and do some extra curriculum, is that right? And then you came back with Jack, is that how it worked?
Unfortunately, when you play football, you still have to go to school, kids. I'd left Savio, so then after that, it's like, what do you do now kind of thing. Obviously knew I was going to eventually go and play with Everton. And then Everton offered us through Lindsay Johnson extra education at Cardinal Heenan.
So it's Jono's fault.
So it's Lindsay Johnson's fault, yeah. So the reason I've met Jack is because of Lindsay Johnson, to be honest, it really is.
There you go,
So I went there, and Jack had grew up a large part of his like youth in Spain, and he come back to England. His mum had got a job back in England with her other lads. So she came back, and then he went to Cardinal Heenan. That's where they're from, that neck of the woods.
I went to Broughton Hall next door.
It's crazy,
it's a small world, isn't it?
It's so crazy.
Like literally,
you can throw a stone at it. It's crazy. So he went there, and he was in the sixth form, and that was it really.
You with somebody who is also in the same sport as you at the same time. Yeah. Do you egg each other on? Have you egged each other on as time's gone on? You know, being supportive of each other as well.
Oh yeah, he's the one constant in my life all the time. I think you can probably relate to that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, like, speaking of small worlds, Aaron, my husband now, I have to keep remembering to say that, knows Jack, doesn't he, from Mick Clegg's football gym. We've all been, everyone's been to Mick Clegg's gym. But yeah, it's crazy how like we're all growing up together. We both met someone who was in high school basically, and we're still with them. Same sport.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It does well for us.
Oh no, it does. It does.
I do, like you said, the consistency thing. We're on the same level. We know what we want to do. The sport is our life first. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what makes it more like Taekwondo or football to you is our life, both of us, and because we both had something the same level and we were trying to achieve that level, that height, it helps. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't a distraction. People think it's distractions and stuff, but like you said, it was consistency, and it was like a partnership more than you think, and friends.
Oh, 100% can relate to what you're saying. It's
sweetheart kids as well. Do you know what I mean? Like
it's just that person that just gets what you're trying to achieve, and can, as good day, bad day, do you know how it feels because they've been there themselves and can relate to it. And again, like I said, he's just that one constant in my life that I can probably go to on a good day, a bad day, and likewise, same for him. You know, he has good days, bad days as well, and
we can relate to it.
We need to.
We're proper big in them up, don't you know what I mean?
Exactly,
I know what's going on.
Yeah, you need to say something bad. Say something bad.
Out of both sports, we're the better ones.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you went, especially if you get a gold medal and you come back with a World Cup win.
That's our
with
plan.
the Euros.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's kind of like he ain't going to achieve that. Let's face it. We are running out of time because we could go on forever.
We chat,
don't we? Yeah, exactly. We could do. So let's just round up a few things. We've already spoken about Manchester City. The future's bright there for you, and you know, hopefully you'll win a WSL title and etc. In the future. With England, World Cup win. Is that the once the footy season's out the way, and maybe you go on holiday for a week or wherever it is? Yeah. Is it all eyes on down under then playing for England in the World Cup?
It will be. Yeah, I think switch off for a little bit, be a human for a couple of weeks, and
Is that how long you get? A couple of weeks, and then you're back
2
on
weeks. I think I get 2 weeks off, and then straight back into a training camp.
At SGP probably.
SGP, yeah, I think you're right. Probably know more than I do.
Yeah, probably. SGP.
I actually think we have a training camp where we do it by ourselves first,
Yeah.
so we
Okay.
can take that wherever we want.
Okay.
And then we meet up. Actually, the difference this time is we don't have a lot of time
Yes.
before the World Cup, before we fly out, because we'll have to fly out a little bit sooner.
Oh,
But yeah,
because it's
for
so
sure.
far away, isn't it? It's down under,
Adapt
so
and
you're
2
gonna
weeks
have to jet lag
before
and all.
that stuff, as you know, it's part of the game.
It does
isn't
come
it?
into account though, like.
Oh, massively.
Are you happy it's like in Australia? Are you happy it's in New
Yeah, I've
Zealand?
got
Like?
Australian teammates, and I just give them stick all the time.
Yeah.
Like, it's great. Back and forth though. It's
But the thing is, it's such a growing game in Australia as
Yeah.
well, isn't it? You know what I mean? They're really starting, it's a bit like the WSL over here. It's really starting to gather momentum over
Yeah.
there. So I'm hoping it'll be a celebration.
Oh, me too. And I think they ask me questions about the Euros. They say like anything like from doing a tournament in your home country like that we
Yeah.
should know, or
Yeah.
what to expect. And of course, we are from a country that's renowned for football and
Football
everything's
mad, yeah.
football mad.
Yeah.
And I said like they still are going to have unbelievable fan base out there, and I'm not sure maybe the expectation will be as high for them, or the pressure, maybe, if that's the right word to use, as it would be in England. Because if you play for
The
England, it's
hype's
pressure.
not as big, yeah.
Whether you
But
win or not, you have pressure over
Yeah.
here, no matter what you do, and that's kind of become normal for us a little bit. But you can't enjoy it, like playing in front of your home fans
and
in
then
your
you get a
home
buzz off
country.
it, don't you?
It's nothing better.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And
But-
so if it all does go well and you
Yeah.
come back with a World Cup medal, that gold medal around your neck.
That's
The
the
other
plan.
thing I was thinking about as well, as we wrap up this, you've got 70 plus caps at the moment for England.
Yeah.
We spoke to Rachel Unitt previously, who's got over 100, and I know Jill, she's got over 100, and Farah over 100. Is that something as well in your mind, that you want to be that successful with England, that you are one of those centurions as well? Because that seems to be a badge of honour.
It's definitely a badge of honour. I think something that some people should
Yeah.
be, everyone who's got one, should be unbelievably proud of. If I'm being really honest with you, I don't really think about it. I didn't even know I had
Yeah, it must
75
just come with
caps.
it,
I
yeah.
think I'm grateful for every cap I get. I want to achieve as many as I can. I want to win as many trophies as I can. If the day comes when I decide to call it a day on my England career and
Yeah.
I've not quite achieved 100, or I've smashed it, then whatever number that lies on, of course, I'll be really proud to have done as
Yeah,
many as
definitely.
I have had.
Just thinking of that World Cup, like taking each game as it is, and their extras. If you get over 100, you get over 100. You've still done fantastic if you do or don't. Like, do you know what I mean? But I reckon she will. Definitely.
And we've spoken about this a number of times, Bianca, that you go to Olympics and stuff. Is that also a thing for you to be looking ahead for? Would you
Well,
like
it's
to
next
go to
year.
Olympics?
It's next
Yeah.
year. 20. What are we in? 24.
Yeah.
So
I know
it's in
I'm
Paris.
looking
I hope
looking
she
ahead.
comes. Let's
Yeah,
go.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Scousers will do
Yeah,
it.
exactly,
Yeah. Honestly, like the story of the last one, I didn't go. I didn't get picked to go. I was heartbroken not to go. In all honesty, again, for every cloud there's a silver lining.
Yes.
It done me an unbelievable favour. I got the chance to be normal for 7 weeks of
Yeah.
my
There
life, and no pressure of flying out to tournament. And of course, I still think, what if? And if I'd have gone to a tournament, it wasn't meant to be. I wasn't meant to go. The people go to me now, oh, do you have to go to Paris to say you've been? I don't really think it like that. I don't really think about things like that. And for me, growing up, an Olympics was an amazing thing, but I watched it as a fan. I was always a fan of an Olympics and watched all the sports that went on, and it was never something I was like, I have to go to an Olympics when I was growing up.
I think with
as much
that,
as I
it's
want
like,
to.
it's different in it with each sport. Like the pinnacle in our sport is the Olympics.
yeah.
Yours is the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like it is that big chance. Your biggest dream is coming up in
Absolutely.
this summer, not the summer after.
Yeah.
That's my biggest dream. So I understand why you can be like that. For people like, I don't get it. Why would you not want to go? But it's different. There's different pinnacles in people's sports. And for you, if you had one choice, you'd always be picking the World Cup.
Yeah,
and
of
people like
course,
need to know that and understand it. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You better win a gold medal, though.
I was going to say,
That's
yeah.
the plan.
On
That's
that
the
note,
plan. That's the plan.
well, you're
No
giving
pressure,
me,
like bloody hell.
I know.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, he's asking me to win a World. You better win an
exactly.
Olympics.
You better,
Let's
Scousers.
make
You
a
know what I
deal.
mean?
We'll try. Win a
We'll
World
try.
Cup. Win the
Well,
Olympics.
yeah, exactly. It's many different things can come into consideration when it comes to those sort of things. Things can go right, things can go wrong.
Goes so quick, sport, innit? But
Oh,
that's why we
well,
watch it.
so
That's why
quick.
it's fun.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly,
why
yeah.
we
And
do it.
just finally, Bianca knows that I like to age people and
Yeah,
retire
he's a proper
people.
Do you?
And, yeah,
Age you.
I'm terrible for doing it. So instead of doing that, what I would like to say is, Have you ever thought about, when you do retire and that sort of thing, what sort of legacy you because you've already left it, as far as I'm concerned, with winning the Euros and with doing everything that you've done and the journey you've done on. You've got a mural on the wall in Bootle, you know what I mean? Do you ever want to think about your legacy that you leave behind? Because we spoke up to Rachel Unitt about it, and she hoped she passed on something to the younger generation and you and Nikita, etc.
Mm-hmm.
What about yourself?
Probably very similar to Rachel. My idea of leaving the game, and of course I think about it, I'm on the wrong side of the 20s now, and I know that's still young in life years, but in football it's a stage where you probably start to think about how does like the next 4, 5, 6 years maybe look a little bit. Yeah. But I think when I leave the game, I want to be someone, who gave everything I could and left the game in maybe a better place than what it was. And I think someone who just tried to help the younger players and be there and, just tried to give everything they've got, and someone, who done themselves proud, really. I think that's something I want to look back on and say I tried to. I want to give, again, I'm my own academy I'm bringing out.
Yeah, I was just about to say that you're bringing out an academy for the next generation, aren't you?
Yeah, and I want to give back. I want to take it home. I want to take it back to Liverpool. I'm starting in Manchester. Bootle. Of course, Bootle. And
have them all over the place. What's it called? Sorry?
AG5 Academy. Yeah, it's the right time to do it. It's what I want to do. It's something I've always wanted to do. And just to give opportunities to young girls to play football, whatever area that you're from. I think it's definitely so important.
I think you're definitely going to leave that legacy. You already have, hasn't she?
Very much so.
You're an icon. Like I said, your people, boys, girls, will look up to you and just keep going and win the World Cup.
You too.
We only have icons on this, don't we?
Yeah,
really?
definitely.
And you're certainly at the top of your game at the moment, and I think what you're doing for women's football and football in general, for girls, for boys, I think it can only be admired, put it that way, because to do what you do and to stay at the top is not easy. And I think you can certainly agree with that.
It's harder to stay on top than get to the top, definitely. And thank you. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Hear your life and hear your story and be a Scouser.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for coming on.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
To speak to you.
Thank you.
Cheers.